reports that they are still burning thousands of protesters alive. They also issued an assassination threat against you over the weekend. I know that you can't talk about what's on the table, but what is your response to Iran's leadership and their regime continuing to taunt you, threaten you, especially given over the weekend you said it's time for new leadership in Iran?
Well, they shouldn't be doing it, but I've left notification. Anything ever happens, we're going to blow the whole country is going to get blown up. So we've, originally Biden should have said something. When they made a statement, we always said, why isn't Biden saying anything? Because he didn't. But a president has to defend a president. Like if I were here and they were making that threat to somebody, not even a president, but somebody like they did with me, I would absolutely hit them so hard. But I have very firm instructions. Anything happens, they're going to wipe them off the face of this earth.
There you go. All right, Shalom. I'd like to start up saying, Call Halayim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Harakak Radash, Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone. Double honors to our elder apostle as well, Harawan Bay. Salutations to the Akim that are pushing the truth, the sincerity of the truth. And peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name Yahweh Shem Shai. All right, I'm Canucks on by Yashar from the Lions in the Yashar camp. And this is another Lions in News and Prophecy. This is Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. It says, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written on paper, because they are faithful and true. All right. So you heard it. Look for something real quick. You heard what he just said, that uh, Trump vows to wipe Iran off the face of the earth over threats, right? So that's crazy, because the elder just did a lesson. One of his lessons just popped up, and it said, thus with violence shall great Babylon be thrown down. The scriptures say, he who unalives with the sword must be unalive by that sword, and that sword is the missiles. All right. So now you've seen how boastful and stuff he was talking in that interview. Let's see what this article says. It says, President Trump said Tuesday he has issued very firm instructions to the U.S. to wipe them off the face of the earth if Iran attempts to carry out assassination threats against him. In an exclusive interview with News Nation's Katie Pavlik tonight, making his second term inauguration anniversary, Trump said the United States would retaliate against the entire country if Iran acts on its threats. But it's that's like you slapping the shit out of somebody and saying that you're gonna unalive them if they hit you back. You just killed some of the top officials and threatened the Ayatollah. So they, in response to what was said by DJ Nero 47, that was in response to what they were saying about what they're going to do to officials in Iran. You see what I'm saying? So that's why, thus with violence shall Babylon be thrown down, man. And I got to watch that video the elder put out too, because it popped up on our Lions Den of Yasharala Prophecies page, not the main page. So that means it's a lot of information on there, like because you know how they censor and filter everything out that we gotta say, and then they try to shut the page down. So yeah, if I can remember, I'm gonna put the link to that video in the description box. But it's on the Lions Den of Yasharallah Prophecies page and the Lions Den Camp page. So if I forget to put them in there, look up those pages and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to them. But check this out though. You know, you got you got Babylon the Great and DJ Nero 47 living in a glass house but throwing rocks. See that? That's why they must be stopped, man. We're just gonna get into some scriptures, see what the scriptures say about them. It says, hold on, where we gonna start at? We read this the other day. Um, all right, all right. It's Psalms 10 and 5. It says, his ways are grievous, thy judgments are far above out of his sight. Because if he understood judgment, he would understand like, okay, their action is a reaction of the type of energy that was displayed by Babylon and the officials of Babylon. So what are you supposed to say? You're supposed to threaten people and have not nobody give you that same energy back? You see that? It says as for all of his enemies, he puffeth at them. Right? So he feels like that's like he's like, yeah, y'all ain't gonna do nothing. I'm gonna do all this here, I'm gonna do all that there, y'all ain't gonna do nothing. Y'all ain't gonna do nothing about what I do. But the Lord gonna do something. That's why the Lord said, yo. So he feels like Babylon feels like they can run around and impose their will on individuals and not get a response back of any type of aggression. Everybody's supposed to bow down like a dog with their head to the earth to this place, regardless of it being the hammer of the earth and looking at everything outside its existence and agenda as a nail, as a problem that needs to be fixed. You know, so but the Lord got a trick for them. All right, it's Jeremiah 51 and 1. It says, behold, I will rise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind. Matter of fact, hold on. That's the destroying wind is the missiles. Okay. Mm, I'll get that later. But anyway, mm, 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 mm. I just seen another article come through that I'm gonna do a lesson on that later. It's NATO and the United States beefing. That's gonna lead into the European Union beefing with America. And that what is that? That's a prophecy. That's and what was that, Jeremiah 50, that mother shall be sore confounded, and also and what is it, Revelations where it says these shall turn and hate the whore. The 10 horns that see it, that these shall turn and hate the whore. Man, it's beautiful, man. We're living in times of our deliverance, man. And we should be, you know what I'm saying, gearing our minds up to be able to endure. Put on the whole armor, man, so that we can endure what's to come in the name of Yahweh Shemel Shai. So back to Jeremiah 51 and 1, it says, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will rise up against Babylon, and them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind. All right, and that's destroying wind is the missiles. It says, I will also, it's like, and I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and enter her land in the day of trouble. They shall be against her round about. And those fanners are enemies, man. And here's one of the top-notch enemies: Iran. Who was Iran backed by? Russia. Who was Russia? The bear that's prophesied to come up against this place and take it down. All right. So they shall be against her round about. Right. So now, as for his enemies, he puffed at them, and all right, and he been persecuting people. But now the Lord saying, "All that thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee." Hold on. Okay, real quick. All right, I'll go back to that in a minute. It says, all right. So now, they're talking about what Iran is doing to the people. What about what Babylon's been doing constantly? You know, Babylon got so much blood on his hand that the Lord gonna turn this place into a lake of fire, man. Jeremiah 51:3 it says, "Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow." So now you have America, Babylon, right? That's been setting up military bases and things like that, arsenal all around the globe, so they can have a direct target. Man, there's another video that I was watching about how also America's surrounding China. Man, there's so much going on right now, man. All right. So the Lord's like, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow. So now he's putting together a assembly of nations around about Babylon that's gonna be fire. All right. So let me read it again. Isaiah, Jeremiah 51:3. It says, "Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine, and spare ye not your young men, destroy ye utterly all her host." Right? And that brigadine is armor and their defense, right? You know, like part of the reason why America is boastful and prideful because the geographical position that it's in that it's hard for these other nations to get to. So, and with that being said, the United States made it easier for them to get access to attack other nations like Russia and China by putting up those military bases all over the place and setting up an alliance with the European Union and NATO. You fight one, you fight them all. So, but that was all done by Yahweh Shemel Shah to lift up the pride of Babylon the Great. So what you're seeing happening now, you got NATO and the U.S. beefing right now. And what's happening is you're seeing the destruction, just like how the USSR was broken down in the 90s, in 1990. That's you see the breaking up of um, NATO and the EU and America as we speak. You see that? So it's all strategically being done by Yahweh by Shemel Shai. It says, read on Jeremiah 51:3 again. It says, "Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow." So America's making threats all around with their nuclear capabilities. So in these threats, these like, these bows are being bent back at this place. You see that? It says, "And against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine." So him that's making threats, puffing at his enemies. The Lord's bringing up fanners, right? Enemies that's gonna scatter everybody, leave this land empty and desolate. not only is it going to scatter, all these other nations are going to go back, reserve back to their own country. Ain't nobody going to want to have nothing to do with this place. See that? It says, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are they that are thrust through in her streets, man. You see that? And the Lord doing all this, all right, as part of our deliverance, man, to get us up out of here. Verse 5, it says, for Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power. It says, of the Lord of hosts through their land, though their land was defiled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Yahweh Shem Yahshua. So that's why this is even really happening. So we defiled the land first, and then Esau came back behind us after we were exiled out of our land and defiled it even more. Verse 6, it says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her in recompense. And we get front row seats. So we got to get up out of this place. And it's not talking about packing up and leaving. It's like spiritually, you know. This is Isaiah 52 and 11. It says, depart ye, go ye out from thence. Touch no unclean thing. Go ye out of the midst of her. Be ye clean that bear the vessels of the Lord. You see that? You see that? So, like it says, this is not our rest because it is polluted, man. You see that? So Trump vows to wipe Iran off the face of this earth over threats, man. You heard it right here. Yeah, you know what it's all about. It's about the will of Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, Lord willing, this lesson edify and serve his purpose for the hope of let the ones who truly believe in the name Yahweh Shema Shai. With that, like Sekal Halayim, like Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Harakak Radash, Ma'amath. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone. Double honors to our elder apostle as well. I heard one Banyasha, all down here in the lines in camp. Salutations to the Ark that are pushing the truth, sincerity, and truth. And peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Shema Shai. Shalom.